Dear friend, there comes a moment in life, quiet, almost unnoticed, when everything begins to change. You're sitting across from your child, recalling a memory, sharing a piece of advice from the heart, and suddenly the look in their eyes tells you, you no longer belong in their world. Your words seem to carry less weight. Your presence feels lighter. And in that moment, you feel it. Not loud, not dramatic, but like a dull scratch inside your chest. Something is slowly slipping away. Something sacred. Respect. You've spent your entire life, or almost all of it, loving and caring for your children. Sleepless nights, silent sacrifices. You've never asked for much in return, just to be acknowledged, to be heard, to be treated like someone who still matters. But now you feel like you're being gently pushed out of their lives, and none of them even notice that you're slowly fading. And this is the painful truth that few dare to say out loud. When your children begin to lose respect for you, it doesn't happen suddenly. It fades little by little, in the sighs, in the silence, in the way they scroll their phones while you're speaking. And if you don't do something right now, there may come a day when you wake up and realize it's already too late. But it doesn't have to end that way. Today, I want to walk with you through a truth that may be difficult to hear, but if understood, it will change the way you see yourself. More importantly, it can help you reconnect with your children and rebuild the respect that was lost in a gentle yet powerful way. No shouting, no demanding, just becoming someone they can no longer ignore. Before we begin, I invite you, yes you, to take a deep breath with me. Find a quiet space, pour yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and sit down. Today we're going to have a real conversation, one that just might change everything, and I truly want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like your child no longer sees you the way they once did? That their respect is quietly slipping away? If you see yourself in these words, leave a comment below that says, "Before it's too late." Don't forget, if this message touches you, even just a little, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Because at the end of today's video, I'll share something very personal with you. A moment that might just change how you see yourself and how your children will see you again. You know, there are some stories that don't need to be told out loud because they're quietly unfolding inside our own homes. Stories of a father, a mother, like you, like me, who continue to love silently, who are always there whenever their children need them. And then one day you realize the love is still there, but the respect is no longer the same. David was one of those people. He used to be the anchor of his entire family. For over 30 years, he was always the first to show up when his children faced trouble. Car broke down on the road, he was there in minutes. Short on rent, he transferred money without saying a word. Heartbroken at midnight, he listened patiently, even with his own worries weighing heavily inside. For David, love was an action. It meant showing up, giving quietly, without ever expecting anything in return. But then, things began to change. Not with a major event, not with an argument, but with silence. A slow, growing silence. His son no longer asked for his opinion when making important decisions. His daughter stopped calling every week like she used to. And what hurt David the most was that the simple thank yous disappeared, without anyone noticing when they stopped. In their place were rushed messages, phone calls only when something was needed, quick visits, eat, then leave. And one afternoon, sitting alone in his kitchen, David realized something heartbreaking. He was no longer someone they listened to. He had become the one they relied on, but no longer the one they respected. And that's exactly how respect disappears. It doesn't shout. It's not dramatic. It says nothing at all. It dies quietly, in the indifferent glances, the interruptions, the rushed dinners. And if you don't notice it in time, if you don't do something, then one day that distance may become permanent. Have you noticed? Respect doesn't vanish overnight. It doesn't shout. It doesn't announce its departure. It simply steps back, quietly, slowly, until one day you look around and realize you've been standing on the sidelines for a very long time. For David, it started with small things. One evening at dinner, his son was talking about his new job. David, drawing from over 20 years of management experience, gently offered, Be careful with how he handles deadlines. I sense something might go wrong." The response? A sigh, a slight shake of the head, and then his son said, "David, you don't work there. You wouldn't understand." David, not dad, not father, just David. For a moment his heart sank, but he said nothing. He simply smiled and let it slide, pretending he didn't hear it, as if that tiny sting didn't exist. But that's where it began. And then the small things kept coming. He was telling an old story. His daughter cut him off. "I know, Dad. You've told that story 100 times." He asked about the family. His question was brushed aside. He gave advice, only to be told, "Things are different now. You just don't get it." Without realizing it, his children no longer saw his words as valuable, no longer saw his presence as essential, and not because they were ungrateful or cruel, but because David himself had started stepping back. He stayed silent when interrupted. He stopped defending the worth of his voice. And that's how distance is built, not through arguments, but through quiet surrender. Every time you let it go, every time you silence yourself, it lays another brick in the invisible wall between parent and child, until one day that wall becomes too high to see over. So many parents are going through this right now, but no one dares to name it. They feel unheard but blame themselves. "I'm old now, I shouldn't bother them." They swallow their hurt, calling it sacrifice. But the truth is, when you stay silent long enough, people forget that your voice once carried weight. And the most dangerous part? Silence becomes a habit that kills respect. If you're feeling like David, fading a little more each day in the eyes of the very children who once saw you as their entire world, then stay with me. Because in the next part, we're going to talk about the deepest pain that silence causes, and why, if you don't act now, that relationship might slip away for good. And do you know why this hurts us so deeply? Because for so many years, being a parent wasn't just a role, it was an identity. It was the reason we got up every morning. It was what gave us strength when we were tired, patience when we were hurt, and the willingness to give the entire world just so our children could be safe and at peace. For people like David, being called dad wasn't just a word. It was proof that he still mattered. That even with gray hair and weary shoulders, he was still someone his children listened to, asked for advice, and looked up to with respect. But when that respect begins to fade, when your child's eyes no longer seek you out for guidance, it feels like a piece of you disappears. And the most painful part? It's not about a specific action. It's not about them not calling. It's not even about being cut off mid-sentence. It's the feeling that you no longer matter. It's like being an old book, once loved, once read with fascination, once the place they turned to for every answer growing up. But now that book sits on a shelf, unopened, gathering dust, still full of wisdom, still full of worth. But no one notices it anymore. Older people don't fear loneliness because there's no one around. They fear being forgotten within the very relationships they spent their whole lives building and protecting. I once heard an elderly woman say, "I'm not sad because my child doesn't call. I'm sad because when they do, they no longer need to hear what I have to say." A simple sentence, but it held the weight of a lifetime of loss. David felt the same. He wasn't angry that his son called him by name instead of dad. He wasn't upset about being interrupted at dinner. What broke his heart was feeling like an object in the house, there, but invisible, useful, but no longer seen. And that's what makes a parent feel truly empty. Because after all the years of sacrifice, all the meals prepared, all the unseen wounds, they don't ask for repayment. They only want one thing, to still be seen as an important part of their children's lives, just like their children once were everything to them. If you feel like an old book left forgotten, I want you to know, you are not alone. And in the next part, I'm going to help you look directly at the deeper cause, why this is happening, and more importantly, how we, those who were once respected, may have unknowingly contributed to that loss ourselves. You know, most of us tend to think, my children have changed. They're not like they used to be. But the painful truth is, sometimes the one who changed is us. Not our personalities, not our love or willingness to sacrifice, but we've become too lenient with our role. We've slowly blurred the line between love and allowing ourselves to be disrespected. Out of love for our children, we forget that love must also come with respect. Many parents, like David, were once the solid foundation of the family. But over time, in the effort to stay useful in their children's eyes, they became available all the time. They came when called, helped when needed, solved every crisis, no matter the hour. And soon their presence became expected. So what happens when you're always there, always giving, always saying it's okay, even when you're hurt? You stop being a solid pillar, you become a cushion, soft, comforting, and easily forgotten. This is a truth that's hard to admit, but incredibly common. When you give without asking for respect, you are not appreciated. You are seen as an obligation. Think about it. How many times have you helped your child and received no thank you? How many times have you stayed silent when dismissed just to keep the peace? How many times have you swallowed your hurt to avoid making your child uncomfortable, only to be left with growing loneliness? We teach our children to love and respect others, but very few of us ever teach them how to respect their parents. When those parents no longer earn an income, no longer have the strength they once did, no longer hold authority in the home, and if we don't teach them that, who will? Here's what many parents don't realize. The more you sacrifice without limits, the more you tell others you're not someone who needs to be respected. And your children, no matter how much they love you, will unconsciously treat you the way you allow them to. If you allow yourself to be interrupted, they will keep interrupting. If you allow yourself to be disregarded, they will disregard you. If you don't set boundaries, they won't stop crossing them. David used to believe, if I keep giving, my child will eventually feel how much I love them. But what he didn't know was, love without self-respect only creates one-sided dependence. And over time, he became the easy one, the always available one, the least important voice at the table, all because of his prolonged silence and constant accommodation. If you see yourself in any of this, if you've stayed quiet to avoid conflict or let go of your own needs to preserve harmony, you are not alone. But now, it's time to change. In the next part, I'll walk you through the most important turning point, the quiet but powerful shift where you can begin to reclaim your place, not through words, but through the way you choose to live. And this is the moment when you must make a choice, not a choice to blame your children, not to say they've changed, but a choice to return to yourself, to step out of the shadow you've slowly created after so many years of being a parent. If you're still waiting for a phone call to feel important, if you're still waiting for a thank you to feel appreciated, if you keep telling yourself, I'm old now, as long as they're happy, that's enough, then please and stop, because the longer you wait, the more of yourself you lose. Respect doesn't come from how much you sacrifice. It comes from how you treat yourself. From this moment on, instead of trying to please your children, start doing something you may have forgotten for a long time. Take care of yourself, not just your physical health, but your emotional well-being, your self-worth, your joy. Reestablish the boundaries you once thought were unnecessary. If your child cuts you off, don't just smile and let it go. Say clearly, I'll continue when you're ready to listen. If your time is dismissed, don't cancel your plans or skip meals for them. Say, my time matters too. You don't need to be harsh to be respected. You only need to stand firm in your value. David used to wait, quietly, for respect to return. But one day he stopped waiting. He began waking up early and going for walks. No more sitting around, hoping for a message. He signed up for the piano class he once dreamed of taking in his youth. He met up with old friends for coffee, replanted the backyard garden, even learned how to post photos of his home-cooked meals online. And slowly, his children started to notice. Not because he demanded it, but because he radiated, calmly, steadily. You see, the next time your child ignores your words, don't raise your voice. Raise your standards. You don't need to beg for recognition. You just need to live in a way that makes it impossible for others to ignore you. And if your heart is stirring right now, if something inside you is quietly saying, it's time, then stay with me. Because the final part of this video is a gift just for you. A message not to end this story, but to begin a brand new chapter in your life. And now, as you've walked with me all the way to the end of this journey, I want to invite you to pause, just for a moment, and look inward. Not with blame, not with sadness, but with awakening. Because today, you didn't just listen to a story. You were reminded of your true worth. You've come to understand that respect isn't something to demand, it's something to rebuild day by day, choice by choice, with quiet strength and unwavering dignity. And if there's only one thing you take away from this video, let it be this: you are not small. You are not invisible. You still hold the power to change how your children see you and how you see yourself. From this moment forward, step out of the role of someone who waits for recognition. Step back into being the guide, but this time for your own life. Live as if respect is not a reward, but a rightful standard. You no longer need to wait for your children to realize your worth. You only need to begin living with deep self-respect and genuine joy. And when you do, you'll become someone they cannot ignore. So tell me, what part of today's video spoke to you the most? And if you truly feel ready to change, leave a comment below with the words, "I choose to take back my respect before it's too late." A short sentence that just might be the first step into an entirely new chapter of your life. If this video brought you comfort, inspiration, or the strength to look at yourself with fresh eyes, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And if you'd like to help me share this hopeful message with more people who need it, consider supporting this channel through the Super Thanks button below. Even the smallest contribution helps keep this journey alive. In the videos to come, we'll go deeper into how to rebuild connection with your adult children, how to live a life full of meaning, even if you're on your own, and how to gently heal the silent wounds you've been carrying for years. What topics would you like us to explore? What questions weigh on your heart in this stage of life? Leave a comment. I read everyone, and we're here to serve you better with each video we make. And always remember this: you are never a burden. You are worthy of love, of respect, and of a life that feels truly whole. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next video, where every conversation is not just words, but a step closer to the happiness you truly deserve. Until then, take care, and always believe in your worth.